Alright, hello and welcome to another Train Sim World 2 video, and this one's a bit interesting because it's going to be a review of sorts. Now, I'm not really used to reviewing things. I'm not a video game reviewer. I'm not an expert on every single platform or iteration of every different game that's ever been out. However, I did buy the Glasgow Cathcart Circle DLC, as you saw with the previous stream. The stream at the end, it got very ranty about coronavirus, because, let's just be honest, I think we're all feeling the effects of that, even if we haven't got it. But, yeah, we're going to do a bit of a review, and because I want to be as honest as possible, and also as a quick note, I am suffering from hay fever at the moment. It's acting up because it is summer where I am, and to be honest, any small particle of anything can set it off. So yeah, we'll try our best to do that. Also, I'm using my wired controller for this, so if my microphone quality decreases because of that, I don't know why it would, but if it does, that's why. So yeah, Glasgow Cathcart Circle, what do I think? Just as a spoiler, just as to get this quickly and over and done with. 9 out of 10 for me personally. There are some things, actually no, I'll change that to an 8 out of 10. How about that? An 8 out of 10 because to me the issues that I'm going to be raising do not bother me as much as they probably would other people. That is just me looking at it personally. But I can understand where a lot of people would have issues with how it was handled and how it's been released in its current state. Don't get me wrong, I'm playing the PS4 version and there are no bugs and glitches on this version of the game. I do not know whether the same is true on other versions. I haven't intentionally been looking for them. I haven't really been doing everything there is to do with Glasgow at the moment because, to be honest, nobody has the time to do that. In the time it would take me to get footage and make a video and also check every nook and cranny of this DLC for issues and bugs, we would be here for months before I could even do that. So I haven't run into any issues. If you have, then I'm sorry about that, but basically I haven't, so I'm just basing my opinion off of I haven't had a bad experience playing this. On the contrary, it's been very positive. I'm going to start off with the negatives and then we'll go on to the positives a bit later. So the first one is, well, the different locomotives you can drive. As an overview of the pack, we'll just very quickly get that out of the way. There is one locomotive in this DLC, it's class 314, you can see it on screen now. And there is one route in this DLC. And for this train there's 205 services, that's a hefty amount. And also there's about 6 scenarios and obviously the usual training stuff that you can expect. So that's what you get. You get the route, which is 20 miles long, 20 miles of drivable track. You get Glasgow Central Station and 2 branch lines, Neilston and Newton. I think it's Newton, yeah. And you get the lovely class 314. This is costing in the UK in Great British pounds full price £24.99, so £25. And you can convert the numbers for wherever you are because you can look on whatever store you use to buy your games, Steam, PlayStation Store, anything like that. So if you want to know what the price is over there, that's what it is, whatever it says. Now I did technically get it discounted because I have PlayStation Plus, but PlayStation Plus is something you have to pay for anyway. So I mean, I'm paying $6.99 a month, and I really should do an annual thing. It's just that it's a hefty amount of money to be spending, because if I'm honest, I'd rather just cancel it any time, you know, because I don't want to buy a year's worth and then suddenly just lose interest in online stuff. I'm not really doing a whole lot of online stuff at the moment anyway. But suffice it to say, I think that might be a bit of an issue, that price tag. because this is one locomotive with 20 miles of route, which has 205 services for it and 6 scenarios, but somehow I think people probably agree that doesn't feel like enough. This feels like a £20 DLC to me, at least being reasonable about it. With the usual price tags that Dovetail puts out, £20 and £25, this one feels like a £20 DLC. And that's not to insult it or anything. What's here is actually very, very good. I'm impressed, to be honest. I mean, the whole thing seems very, very polished and very nice overall. Not perfect, but not exactly terrible. And I spoke about the negatives. Let's go into those. There's only one train in this DLC, which we already covered, yes. But that means that Glasgow Central Station is incredibly empty. It's virtually barren, because the only train that you will see driving around this route is the Class 314. Not only that, but the livery that we got in the game is the ScotRail livery, which, okay, it's a lovely looking livery. It's accurate in at least one way. Yes, it is used on the Class 314 and it is used by ScotRail, obviously. But I think most of us were expecting the Carmine and Cream livery, to be honest, because that's what the majority of the 314s were still in, even at the end of their life. This route is set in 2017, I believe. So that's not like next year they're going to retire. It's like a year and then another year. So the year after next. And like I said, the vast majority of the 314s, at least at that time, I think, were in the SPC Carmine and Cream livery, which we didn't get in the game. It's not an option. So, according to the stream that Dovetail did, a preview stream, I made some mental notes about some things that were said. They did originally intend to do more than one locomotive. In fact, the 314 I don't think was even on the list, but then they thought about it and thought, actually, yeah, the 314 would probably be a good choice. They originally meant to do both liveries if they could, but because of time constraints they couldn't. So we got the ScotRail livery for all of the fleet, which in reality, to be honest, only one of the cars usually in the set would have that livery. The rest would all be Carmine and Cream. Another negative you could say is that there are no 6-car services in timetable mode. There are 6-car services in scenarios in this game, but no 6-car services because they just couldn't put them in because of, again, I'm assuming time constraints. If you're looking for other DLC locomotives that from previous add-ons that could be used here, yeah, there are some, like the Class 47, the 31, the 20, the 37. But here's the thing: they've only got two services each maximum. One of them even just has one service that they can do in timetable mode, and that's not great. If you don't have those already installed and you want to buy them for use on this specific route, do not buy them for that reason, because you're only getting two services. But for every other route that you can use them on, I think they've got plenty. Again, not an expert on that, but I'm pretty sure that on most other routes that will accept those locomotives, they've got more stuff to do on that specific route. So because we've only got the one train in this DLC, it does feel very empty. And that is a complaint, because I highly, highly doubt it is pretty much impossible that they would come back in and say, oh, here you go, here's another one for free. No, I don't think that's going to happen at all. But there is potential for this to be expanded upon later with DLC locomotives, which again we have to pay for. But if we want more out of this experience, just as a quick note, if you do want more from Glasgow Cathcart Circle, we need to let them know that we want that. they are open to releasing DLC locomotives that are compatible with this route. So we should probably get onto them about that if we want this to be expanded. The framework is here. What is here is pretty good, right? It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I mean, we've got the route, we've got one train. I mean, it can only really go up from there. So I think that's pretty much all of the negatives aspects. Again, no bugs and glitches that I've come across, nothing game breaking. So we'll move on to positives. And I'll start with the route itself, because I am no expert on this route. I don't live near it, I've never been on it in my life. However, I think the feedback has been pretty positive overall. I mean, this looks nice. Graphically, this looks very appropriate. I like the little collectible features as well. The collectibles are very nice. There's posters, there's route maps, obviously that's a given. But then there's also these cool little steam train planter things, which I believe I may have already shown you in the footage, or it's coming up. Those are adorable. Those are absolutely fantastic. I think those should be on every single route in the UK, because they're just such a delight, right? And yes, I'm a grown adult. I'm 21 years old, and I find that amazing, right? I find that very charming. And this looks nice. The rain effects are also pretty good, I'll be honest. Like the way the water puddles on the stations themselves, on the platforms, that's impressive too. So overall, I think they did well on the route. And having two branch lines to drive along, that's nice as well. Not just the Cathcart circle itself, but you get branches as well. So that's nice. That's nice of them to do. And obviously the depots as well, which you may have to visit. We just passed one of the planter things. And yeah, route is good. Route is very good. Now, how about the train? How about the Class 2 and 4 electric multiple unit? How about that? Well, first of all, because it's the obvious thing on the screen, that fan is fantastic. The fact it actually moves, that's great. I think that's a good little addition. But we're not here just to talk about the fan, we're talking about the whole thing. And honestly, this is fantastic. This is very well done, in my opinion. I don't think they could have pulled it off any better than they did. It is thanks in part to Armstrong Powerhouse, who gave them a lot of help in this, including with the sounds. And if you recognise those sounds, you're not going crazy. They are Armstrong Powerhouse sounds. So AP basically are one of the best in the business for train simulation, enhancements, things like sounds. And they're great. They're great. I mean, it's Armstrong Powerhouse. If the original pack for the 314, and obviously the 313 as well, I think has similar sounds. If the original pack reviewed well, then this is going to review well for the sounds. It drives really nicely. It's fairly beginner friendly, I'd say. The only thing you have to watch out for is the throttle and the brake. They're not connected. It's not a combined handle. Overall, pretty easy to operate and get your head around. Very simplistic, but it's got a very classy sort of feel to it. There's one of the planters without flowers in, because you have to actually walk up to them to put the flowers in, but afterwards they look really nice. Yeah, the train is great. The route is good. So overall, I think I'm very happy with what's here. It could be a lot better, but at least the stuff that they gave us is good, right? And that does lead me on to, well, if you're judging this as it is, it might not be the best value for £25. As with what we've got, right? Even though it's extremely well done, it is up to you to decide whether it's worth the money. Now, I had to pay it because I wanted it on day one. But if you'd rather wait for a sale and you feel more comfortable with the price that way, then by all means you can do that if you just don't think it's worth it at all or something you're not interested in. Because let's be real, the only thing that's really here is passenger services. If you don't like passenger services, you're not going to enjoy this. So, you mean there is other potential as well with the 314. You can use the 314 in scenario planner mode, you can use it in other routes, and you can use the Cathcart circle route with scenario planner as well, so you can drive other locomotives on this if you really want to. Granted, it's not going to be as good as a full-on 24-hour timetable, but you can still make some interesting combinations if you really want to, which is one of the things I like doing. I'm playing in service mode right now, so just to let you know, because I wanted something raw and realistic to show in the review, because this is how it is. This cab, you're not going to like it if you're claustrophobic, let's say that, because you are basically in a metal box. Even though at the front of the train it looks fairly big, realistically you're only in a small cabin, and I don't know if claustrophobia goes into the video game world, but this is a claustrophobic cab, so if you don't enjoy that, then unfortunately the 314 is probably not going to be for you. But overall, I mean, it's not as if you're actually physically enclosed. You can obviously get out of your seat, and it's a game. You're not actually going to be sealed off from the rest of the world. The only really thing, and this is a personal thing, that I'm annoyed by with the 314 is the windscreen wiper. Or if you're in the US, you'd call it the windshield wiper or something like that. Basically, it's noisy. The noise of it actually going back and forth is noisy, but then there's also a noise that's played over that, which is air basically hissing constantly. Which would suggest to me that these wipers are powered by air, which I don't like. With the Class 37, I definitely did not enjoy having the wipers on. In fact, I actively try and forget that the sound is even there. Now, if I'm listening to music at the same time, I won't notice any of those sounds, but if you're playing just the raw game itself, you will notice that, and you'll probably get a bit ticked off by it. So if you'd rather not drive in the rain, or I don't know, you're just going to have to find some kind of solution. That's the only thing that really annoys me out of 314, though. Everything else, I'd say, is perfectly fine, in my opinion. By the way, the digital device up there, which I've forgotten the name of, that doesn't actually work. In things like Train Simulator, it would probably work, but this is Train Sim World. It's a different ball game, so to speak. It looks really nice, but it doesn't have probably as much of the depth that's there in Train Simulator. So yeah, just to note that not everything in this car which has a button or a device associated with it, not all of it works, because some of it is just genuinely not useful, or just a bit, well, it's going to be optional probably anyway. So yeah, just know that part. And there we go, that planter looks very nice. I haven't really got a lot of time to be out of the train though, and I know I'm running late in this footage, but that wasn't the point. The point was just to demonstrate. So yeah, in other news, quick note, I did get some comments on a previous video. It was my thoughts on Glasgow Cathcart Circle. It was part 1 and part 2. I got comments on each, and I want to address one of the comments, which was, why do I start the engine at the station in the footage? That is because it feels more realistic to me. It feels more realistic to physically start the engine, because you can do that. Now, this isn't something that's required. You don't have to know how to do that. But if you should find yourself in a situation where you accidentally turn it off, it can be useful to know how to turn it back on again, Granted, it won't make you any less late, but still, I mean, it's a cool feature, it's implemented in the game, I might as well use it. So it just feels more realistic to me that I just turn on the train and turn it off again when it doesn't need to be used. So then we can hear the start-up sounds, I mean, appreciate all that's there. Because I don't like leaving these trains without showing you everything there is about them that I know about, if that makes any sense. So it would feel a bit empty to me if I didn't start the engine. I don't know. It's the start of the journey. It's appropriate. Just go with it, really. There's no point questioning whatever I do because I just do things in life. And sometimes you're just not sure why you do certain things. It's instinctual. Yeah, the Gaelic there, or Gaelic, however you want to pronounce that, is on the signs as well. Translated, English first, Gaelic second, or Gaelic, or however you want to say it. That's a nice detail. There's also a Scottish passenger announcements that they got that are authentic. Well, someone came in to do the recording at the last minute, and it's done by an actual Scottish lady, which is great. That shows there's been effort. It's more realistic. It's immersive. So overall, yeah, just saying they put a lot more effort in than just what I said. It'll be impossible to cover every single thing that's included here. Yeah, there we go. There we go indeed. So, right, what is there left to say? Well, I'm still working on my GTA San Andreas playthrough, that much is certain. The only trouble is that I've kind of stopped doing that because I was excited for the run up to Glasgow, really. And I haven't really worked any more on it. I've got plenty of videos though, I've got a big buffer. So I haven't even uploaded one video officially. They're all unlisted at the moment, so you can't actually see them. But when I release them publicly, you will be able to see them, obviously. And hopefully by that point they'll have lovely looking thumbnails. I've thought about adding subtitles because, again, I am aware of accessibility issues when it comes to YouTube. I'm usually not satisfied with the accessibility on YouTube. I really am not, and that's not because I'm hard of hearing myself. It's because I sympathise with people who are hard of hearing, and usually, even on TV, even in my own country, even when someone is speaking English, because of their accent or the volume of their voice, I can't always understand what they said. So usually I watch TV with subtitles all the time, because then if I'm confused about what they said, I can just read the subtitles, right? I don't constantly look away from the screen. I know what's going on, but I still do read the subtitles at the same time. That's just who I am, right? I do it on DVDs if they've got them. I prefer it when there's subtitles there, because then I can understand every single word. That's just what I prefer. So I've considered doing subtitles for my my San Andreas playthrough. The only issue there is it will take a long time to do those, and YouTube's caption system, yeah, we all know it's not the greatest, but at the same time it will probably, I mean, it's instant, isn't it? I mean, you can just turn it on and there it is. You don't have to do any work before that, realistically speaking. So I'll probably just leave it on auto. I won't try and do any subtitles for them, because if I did subtitles for every single video, I wouldn't be able to make any more videos until I'd done that, basically, because it would take that long. Unless there's a method that someone knows that's a faster way to do that, I do not know. I don't know, copy and pasting. Yeah, I can't really keep up typing with my own voice. suppose the solution there might be to speak slower, but who wants that? Who wants me to speak slower? So then you have to artificially speed up the video to get a decent experience. Nah. Yeah. So that was that. Hopefully, I've got a big buffer of videos, by the way, so I've got plenty of time to work on that. Even if I got the thumbnail sorted tomorrow and put out the first few episodes, I still have a big buffer to fall back on in case of emergencies. So that's good. There's another planter. Oh, it comes out of the funnel as well. That's nice. That's nice. So yeah, I'll probably do some more videos with the 314. I'll try it on a few different routes. At this point, I've used it in scenario planner mode. I have done another service as well. You can see everything I've done pretty much in the stream that I did. And my opinion's very high, very good indeed. Obviously Glasgow's a route that I can use. It's got AWS, so that's fantastic. I love AWS enabled routes because it means I can use the AWS feature that trains will obviously have if they're UK trains on those routes. So I'm excited to drive other trains on this route as well, not just 314. And hopefully one day we'll have some more DLC locomotives to see. Now, as for upcoming content regarding Train Sim World 2, Cane Creek is apparently coming out very soon. I haven't seen any exact release dates myself, but that's because I'm not particularly interested in Cane Creek. And that's just because I'm just not. It's just not going to be for me. But if it's for you, then please do check it out if you feel like it's important to you. The Class 313 though, I am interested in that. That is at the moment back in production, as far as I'm aware, with the roadmap update last time. They're just probably doing some more work on it, like more testing, more enhancements, stuff like that. So I suppose maybe we can expect that at the end of June, early July. But overall, I'm excited about that. 313, if you're wondering, it's very similar to the 314, except obviously it's going to be in different livery. It won't have a pantograph, I don't think, because I don't think on the Southern Network route they use pantograph powered trains. I don't think they do. At least the 313 doesn't have a pantograph. It does have a different quote-unquote gearbox. I forget the correct term that was used in the stream by Dovetail. They specified that it has the positions for the throttle handle anyway. I think it goes off, shunt, series, and then parallel, which translates to 1, 2, 3. I think there's maybe a fourth one there as well. But then I forget about it. I forget which it was. But it's very similar to the similar in concept to the 1972 stock on the Bakerloo line, which funnily enough kind of is like Glasgow in a way, because there's a lot of stations here and they are pretty close together, as you can probably tell by the stop start in the footage. Obviously if you want to go into scenario planner mode, the choice is yours where you go, but regardless, if you're playing service mode, stop start is what you can expect. And finally then you go into Glasgow, or you leave Glasgow, or maybe you don't even go there at all. Variations upon that. Yeah, the 313, I'm excited to use that as well, see how it compares, see how it matches up. And I'm growing on the livery on the 313, gotta be honest. I didn't like it at first, just something about it felt a bit off to me, but the more I look at it, the more I happen to like it. Obviously you can edit deliveries of new trains that are for Train Sim World 2, you can do that. They have got some older trains that have been given that support with recent DLCs, Whether or not they plan to do all of the older expansion material, so to speak, like the older trains, whether they plan to update those with Livery editor features, I do not know. I think they were discussing that, but it might be pretty late, because to be honest, the team have a constant list of things to do with the game. They'll never really be finished, and that's just the way it is. So things like that could be very, very low on the list. We don't know. And until they appear on the roadmap, I don't think we should be getting our hopes up about anything. I think we should just pay attention to what's on the roadmap, and then we know for sure what's going on. And then, we'll keep up with the news and all the rest of that stuff. In my videos, I do try and relay this information. I don't cover everything, right? So if there's something you're really, really curious about and you're wondering, oh, is this coming for the game? Is there going to be a fix for such and such scenario on such and such route? Or is this train finally going to be getting, I don't know, passenger information support or things like that? You're going to have to check the roadmap, because I do not pay attention to things that aren't important to me personally. And I'm afraid of giving you the wrong information, so if you want to look at all this stuff, be my guest. It's on the Train Sim World 2 website, or dovetailgames.trainsimworld2 or something like that, and then you can just look up the roadmap. I imagine that Dovetail will be very busy with the Rush Hour upcoming DLC. That is, at the latest, will be in August, because that's the end of summer, and it's penned for a 2021 summer release. So yeah, by the latest it'll be here by August. If you're looking forward to that, they have a section dedicated to that as well. It's got its own things to keep in mind. The AWS wasn't really working at the end here for some odd reason. I was clearly going through other AWS magnets that had a red signal or a yellow in front of me, by which case they should go off. But apparently they didn't. Apparently the AWS was asleep and just didn't want to work right. But again, that's pretty much the only thing that I've noticed. It hasn't happened before in any other services, so might be this one specifically. I don't know. I think that pretty much concludes everything to do with this, though. I think it does. We're arriving at Glasgow Central Station, which, like I said, it does look a bit empty because of only having one locomotive on this particular route at the moment. But hopefully we can convince Dovetail to have some more DLC stuff to add on to this. Hopefully stuff we'll really enjoy. There's a few options out there. If you're an expert on this particular route, then you'll have some ideas in mind. Be specific, but obviously understand that they're not going to be including every single locomotive. They'll only include things that they can actually, pull off and manage correctly. So, this is pretty much the end. We're offloading at Glasgow Central Station. Looks nice in here. And thanks very much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, please do stay tuned for my other content and stuff like that. I'll be working with the 314, I'll be working with this route as well, with other trains. I'll be doing quite a lot of things. So hopefully I can bring you some good content that will constantly improve, because I am that sort of person. I want to improve every single time. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to, like the video if you want to, save it to a playlist, I don't know. You can do whatever you want. Have a lovely day, stay safe, because we are still in a pandemic at the time of this video, and yeah. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.